As I said earlier, it's great to be here. I'm excited to talk to you guys about spiders today, and spiders are one of my favorite things. But talk about they're really interesting creatures. And so we're gonna talk about some key spiders. As well as spider control, spider management, do things like that. And those that don't know me a little bit about my background, I am an associated certified entomologist. I studied marketing chemistry in school. I've been in business now for 24 years. I am a vice pest control advisor from California. The qualifier applicator licensees and the branch 2 licensed out there. So been doing this for a long time again. Spiders is one of my favorites. You can see that some of them come through some of these things, and maybe some stories I might share with you, but depending on time. Now let's dive right in then. Alright. Let's not dive in. Do I need to turn this on, or is there? It's on, but it's not moving. There we go. Okay. Yeah. So spiders, you know that they're in, people are creeped out by spiders, right? There's all kinds of literature that used to create it. Do you know where this is from? Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's probably from The Hobbit, actually, this particular illustration, but spiders and hobbits that are used in the Lord of the Rings as well. Well, indeed, and they instill this fear in people. There is even a condition. What is the condition? Arachnophobia, right? So maybe that the thing is kind of funny is, it's literally it'd be like Godzilla is afraid of you because spiders are so small. So I even like the definition. It says abnormal fear of spiders. In some cases it's an irrational fear. I mean, there's nothing to be afraid of. I mean, there are several spiders I wouldn't recommend playing with. But you know, they're not for the most part really dangerous creatures. And like I said, it's not, I don't want to bring home your kids, but they're not super dangerous creatures, and the vast majority of them actually do what we do right. What is that? Pest control. So this is a real. So check this out. You look this story up. This happened about a year and a half ago. This lady had a spider on her. It is worse than this too. She jumped out of the vehicle while it was moving, while it was on. Spider was on her. She jumps out whilst the vehicle was moving. The car crashes into the bus. Now luckily, there were kids on the bus. It was just the bus driver, like getting ready for school or something, crashes into the bus. Yes. There was a kid. Her kid was in the back seat of the car seat. Yeah, but this is real, so you look it up on the internet. That's where the car looked after the kid was fine. So he's in the car seat, so he's fine, like the car was moving only 15 miles an hour. That's pretty nasty. So here's some information talking about some common spiders and other arachnids. Arachnids program. Now most of these I mention are beneficial. The arachnids feeds on insects, so they're really good, help us have pest control. And for the most part that's a good thing, right? We or potentially dangerous ones we want to deal with, part of the arachnomania. They are the largest group in this class, and this includes my spiders. I'm sorry, my state scorpions, 2 scorpion and lot of others. Those daddy long legs, they're not spiders, although I'll address that really quick later. There's actually I think there's close to over 100,000 now has been documented, and so need to update that, and lot of arachnids, and over 50,000 are spiders. Okay, so what's the main difference between arachnids and insects? Of course it's the pairs of legs, although this is not a 100. I don't know if you knew that. There are some arachnids, some really tiny stars and ticks. You can look at, they have 6 legs. They will eventually molt and have 8. But you're looking at, you could find couple, but anything you can see with a naked eye. Do you see with a naked eye that it's got 4 pairs of legs? It's a spider, arachnid. It's got 3 pairs of legs. It's an insect with a naked eye. That's a general rule that I like. Then there are some other differences. Now this cracks me up all the time. Somebody needs to talk to the Arizona Department of Transportation. Whoever does these signs, look at that sign there. All the Arizona rests of us. Says poisonous snakes, they got that right, and insects in half that area with the scorpion arachnids, not an insect. So let's talk about spiders a little bit more. You know, sometimes when you call the forgotten pesticide there's this universal fear a lot of people are afraid of, and is this okay to sell pesticide based on fear? Yes, I think there's a way we need to look at that is, you know there is, you've got a customer says I'm terrified of spiders. And you walk up and you go, you should be. You know that is not the best way to sell pesticides, right? But, if you have a customer that says, I'm terrified of spiders. You say, you know I understand that. A lot of people are and we have a great program for you. That's totally legit. So you're not preying on the fear and you acknowledge that they have fear, and that's something for you to take care of. But don't ever encourage it, alright? The public health threat page is probably but overflowing. But it's totally legitimate customer management service. So this is 40,000 species, but there are up to close to 50,000 now. Most of them are venomous, most of them are carnivorous, they like live prey. Actually there is one plant, they're spiders, jumping spider, one hunt feeder, so if you can categorize them into two major groups, hunters and web spinners. Okay. That's really how they catch their prey. So that's why we categorize into hunters and web spinners. And with hunting spiders, if they are hunting spiders they probably have big eyes. So that's one of the ways you can tell a hunting spider from web spinners. Now does that mean hunting spiders don't use webs or build webs? No, they do. But they usually have big eyes, and we're gonna break down a little bit more active, used to hunter and middle. But like, jumping spider, tarantula, wolf spiders, they are active day and night. Some of them are only nice and nocturnal or only night. But again, really good vision, and web spinners rely on webs to catch the prey. And there's different kinds of webs they build, like the two-dimensional, Charlotte's web, classical spider web that we think of it during Halloween, and then there's the three-dimensional like the cobwebs like widows and like that. Then there's sheet webs, funnel webs, and few other kinds that builds different webs as well. These web-spinning spiders, the ones that they primarily use webs to catch their prey. Now spiders, one of the interesting thing would be males is generally smaller than females. This is more predominant in the spiders that are stationary, so the web-building spiders have a much more greater sexual dimorphism than the ones that are hunters, so if they're an active hunting spider, they usually look pretty similar. But if they're like the web builder, there's a big difference. I'm sure you recognize the widow spider, black widow. What's very different is from the male to female. Right. You see, the male saw this live, so I took a picture of this. Yes, so I put this on one time. Someone said, yeah, they're just like people. Whoa. Alright. But here's a question. Do female spiders eat their mates? So I heard it already was one that everybody hears. Black widows, yeah, I guess that's not true. Yeah, that's not true. So that doesn't studies tried in 3 species of the black widows we have the United States. You only want that can kind of get to do it, if you starve them and keep them in a container together, as the southern black widow. Now do widow species do this? Yeah. In fact, the brown widow. This is a pretty common occurrence with a brown widow. Well, there's also a widow spider down in Australia. It's a very common occurrence. The black widows. No, they don't do it. It's kind of just a myth. But there are other spiders. Fires. Sometimes it's because they want to make water, so they'll You know, sometimes it's because it wants to mate longer, so they'll stop someone because it's part of the biology of they live as living bunch of chastity belt, as in the case of this one here. This yellow bird spider, they mate one time, and its pouch gets stuck there. So she can never mate again as she kills them and they stop. And so on-time mating ensures that his genetic is passed on. So it is just another example of that sexual dimorphism. This is one of those spiders that's the male and that's the female. Spider period that worked out right? That's it, you can close up and see it real time. Okay, so spider eggs are protected in a sac the females can guard in carrying them around. Seeing a lot around wolf spiders and spiderlings lair on mother's back and stuff. So this is actually a textbook made several textbook I have. Is not just me, you know, made this stuff up. Some of those, but wolf spiders are sometimes called oh shit spiders. Does anybody seen that before or heard of that? Yeah, I got it. It's right in the textbooks, and one of the reason for that is, we'll talk about later about their movement as part of the reasons too, but also because whenever they carry spiderlings, they get scared. Any of your customers say spiders exploded, and there's bunch of smaller spiders yet. Right there you're probably gonna say it's a wolf spider. They carry their spiderlings on their back, see it, but she gets nervous, she'll say, you know, everybody is on their own. So, spiders sometimes spreads out by ballooning. What they do is release a little strand of silk, and that's how you can find spiders on tops of tall buildings and stuff, because it releases silk and then it just kind of carries with them tiny yolk. This picture was probably taken about 30 seconds after the egg sac exploded. So and I wish I had a video of his dash out of the camera, but about 2 to 3 minutes, all of these spiderlings were gone. They were all gone, they released their silk strands and they were all gone, so... As I mentioned, they primarily feeds on insects, but they, you know, once the plant feeders, they will feed on another arachnids. And you can watch Animal Planet, I'm sure you've seen some of that, are going to water, you know, to fish, and there's really cool spiders out there. But those aren't home invaders. Their digestive system's totally made so they basically will bite of two kinds. Of bites will happen. One of them is venom mixed with digestive juices. Some spiders have that. Other spiders do two bites. What they will do is bite once with venom, then come back and inject digestive fluids, but basically what it does is, it dissolves the insect's insides and they suck it out, in just pretty much how insect. Spider silks are used for all sorts of things, as I already mentioned earlier, for the ballooning, but also for safety lines and shelter. You probably heard this, spider silk is stronger than steel, as some spider silk it is. I mean, yeah. Was a huge new addition to this during a 3-hour spider program. Spiders can make different kinds of silk. They actually, the way it works, it's almost like soda fountain inside of them, and they choose which one of those silks to be made. So you ever notice some parts of the webs are thicker and some are thinner? They just mix different proteins, so some of their silks can be really strong. And certain spiders, they may know which ones you have here that has thick, strong silk. Black widows. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so jumped throughout a little bit though. Spiders bites in general. Spiders don't like to bite. I mean, in fact, it's a tremendous amount of resources that they have to give up. Right. So they don't want to necessarily bite. And one of the things that they found anecdotally now, years ago, there was some reports of that certain situations like, spider, a black widow would cause worse symptoms and worse bites. And you think someone got bitten close to the heart maybe. That might be worse because you got the venom close to the heart, right? So what was typically found with black widow bites was, ones where the people close to more reaction when bitten in extremities, like hands, or feet. So that's kinds of weird. Why would that be? Well, there's actually another study that, I can't remember if I still got the presentation, so I'll tell about it now. There's another study 5 years or so, and they actually measured black widows, and what they found was the more they squeezed the widow, the more venom they injected. I guess, it's a direct correlation. In other words, The more you stressed that spider, the more of his resources he was able to give up and inject. That totally explains it. So why did somebody that got bit in the neck or the arms is probably because the spiders here they brushed real quick and it decided to bite them before they knocked it off. The ones the foot and the extremities. You're putting your shoe on and that guy's like, I'm dead. I'm all in. Right. So that's why those bites are a lot worse. So I think it totally makes sense. So all right, spider and medical importance. Of course we have widows, 5 widows in the United States. I don't know if you knew that, but there's 5 widows found here. In Arizona Land Institute you have brown widow and the western black widow. I don't think anyone's ever seen a southern black widow here, but, I mean they are a little bit different. But I knew there's 2 the western and the brown widow. Recluse spiders, there's I think actually, 4 different recluse spiders in Arizona. 4 or 5. But there's only couple that think that you run across the brown recluse is not in here. I want to be clear, I want to talk about that in a minute. And then hobo spider is another venom medical important one, not nearly as much as they used to think it was. That was a little about Northwest. So some common spiders of Arizona, where I will go thought all these, but we're gonna look at few of them. Some key things about their biology. So I mentioned hunters earlier, passive hunters and active hunters, and some passive hunters kinda sit and wait. Active hunters go out. Well, which ones you think your customers are gonna see the most? Active hunters, you are absolutely right. So the brown recluse though, how can people have a story where you met somebody says, oh yeah, I had a brown recluse? Yes. When I lived in for years and then when we moved back California, moved into my house in the San Diego area, neighbor found out I'm a pest control first day I met her. And she says, oh yeah, I was bitten by a brown recluse. Really? Wow. Where? In my garage. We're right here in San Diego. Yeah. Okay. I don't want to argue with my neighbor right there, as you know, just veteran stuff. Has any of you guys had that? Someone gives you a brown recluse story. Maybe happened in Arizona or something. Well, you know, maybe, there, since you guys do have some Arizona browns and couple others, maybe that what it was? But the actual brown recluse is not here. So there's couple other mishaps too. You know there's a whole state in between. Right. So this is the brown recluse's geography. And you know they are dangerous spiders, violin-shaped. Now here's the key thing I want to tell you though, that I want you to remember, the identification of the brown recluse. Don't go by the fiddle. Okay? I mean, it can be a helpful diagnostic, but the main thing you really need to go by is, a 6 eyes in a half circle formed in 2, 6 eyes, half circle, 2. The only other spider that I'm aware of is the spinning spider, and it's totally different. Okay. So if you have a spider that you find has 6 eyes, now how many eyes does a spider have? Anybody know? Ha ha ha, anywhere from 0 to 12. There's some spiders that have 0 eyes. And then 12, the vast majority of them have 8, and then there's quite a few that has 6, but there's only this group and then spinning spiders that I know of that have a 2 in the half circle. And again, you'll see spinning spiders I'll show in a slide later. It's very different. So that's I think the best diagnostic tool, certainly the fiddle, that I had people show me stuff on the spider and be like, hey man, can you see the fiddle? Like, I don't know what you're smoking, but that's not a fiddle. So, but you know they're different designs. Some people aren't sure what they see, so the eye pattern is the best way to go. And in fact, if you're doing spider keys and trying to figure out the eye pattern's always the best way to go. Okay, the other thing about brown recluse spider is, they are really not that bad as they say they are. Okay. So this particular bite you see in this picture, This is about 90 of the cases of brown recluse spiders. Most of times you hear about brown recluse spider, it's not that real bad. Okay. It's the bad ones we hear about and of course appears on the press, but most of time it's not really bad. It is a cytotoxic poison, which means necrotic and kills local tissue. Now some of you could have more susceptible reaction to this toxin or a form of immune reaction to this whole body, because the venom doesn't do that. Venom just kills the local tissue. Okay. It's actually a medical paper on a so that was not really a brown recluse spider, but I am going to show is it true from a medical journal where they caught the spider and everything right. So if you don't want to see this, then time to turn around. So this gentleman was bit on the leg, and he had a very, very bad reaction as you can see. So 9 days later the massive tissue that really, really bad and had a skin graft 10 months later. And in an interview with a paper he said, "At least I got a place to sit my beer now." No, I'm just kidding, that's terrible because it does leave a little pit. So, what do we have? So this is an old map. And so you can see the desert recluse and the Arizona brown, and there's southern on here. There's actually that aren't on this map that are found I don't know how recently. I couldn't find any information. I tried to look up and see if there's any recent find. But there is another small species of recluse spider that had been found up in this area, doesn't have a common name but it's a different species found up around Prescott area. And then there's another species has another name, again I don't think it has a common name. It was found around Tucson area. So that was raised to 5 different recluse species found in Arizona. Now, we don't know a lot about these. We don't know how if there's venom's bad, there's just not a lot of research on these other recluse species. We do know a couple things about the desert recluse. I'll share this with you. It's lighter in color. So, much lighter in color. The females are close to same size, but they are a little bigger. Okay. So the desert recluse is a little bit bigger. You can't even see the violin part. The older ones you can kind of see but it's really faint, that's why I said to go with the eye pattern. Can't even see the violin. Again, you can see this. This is the one found in, typically you find this one here in Las Vegas, it's been found in Vegas, that was the case in Vegas. 2 experts witnesses, both entomologists, disagreed. One guy said, back up a little, a gentleman lost his arm. He stayed over at a friend's house and sued his friend's insurance company, got bit in the arm and had a big, massive infection and then lost his arm. One of the entomologists says that hey look, there's no way to tell if this was a recluse spider. I believe it could have been a MRSA infection. The other expert witness said, hey, based on all the facts that I'm convinced this was a desert recluse. We don't know, they didn't catch the spider. But again, but the spider has been found in Vegas in some other cases. So you can see, the venom has been tested though with this spider, with the desert recluse, and it is equally as potent. But the thing is, it's not been determined that if this spider is as dangerous as is. In other words, maybe it doesn't inject as much venom. Maybe it's not, it doesn't have the same type of reaction with humans. The potency tests were done on a rabbit or something. So we just don't have enough information. Okay, bottom line is, are recluse spiders dangerous? Yeah. It's not something you don't want to play with. But is there a public risk? I don't think so. Not really. Okay. This guy though, is the most common sight in all 50 states. Yellow sac spider, again, this is the one more than anybody say, I got the recluse and check out the violin. Okay. So, but this is not. Absolutely not. Now this spider is very commonly found in cars. people find in their cars. In fact, Mazda had to do a big recall. So you see, this is the male is a bit small and it does have the same kind of cytotoxin venom, but about the worst bite about getting formed this is about the light brown recluse. But again, they are attached to gasoline. So you find them in garages and in cars. Probably that woman that had to jump out the car. That could have been it. There was a signal alert in California freeway, that 15 freeway a couple of years ago, where a lady had hit several cars and swerved off the freeway. And it was this spider. So again, they are attracted to gasoline and they build little sacks, okay? And you guys probably have seen them, like they get up citrus trees and pull out the leaves, or get in the corner of a building and kinda have a little sack. You've seen that before. So there's several different species. So is it dangerous? No, but it can be very painful. Again on a citrus tree. Ground spiders, there's like 20,000 different species. They are active at night. Typically people don't see these as much except for in the fall. They are usually outdoors, but in the fall, the ground spiders will come inside. Males come inside looking for mates. Wolf spiders are pretty common. You guys have them here in Arizona. I'm not sure how these species are here, but I know there's at least 2 that I've seen, and they're a size they blend in with the environment. They are very swift movers forward. Remember I called these O-shift spider earlier? Cause people freaked out when they explode. The other thing about wolf spider though is, wolf spiders can't turn. It doesn't do this. Okay. Some spiders can, ground spiders, and a lot of spiders do turn. Wolf spiders can't do that. If a wolf spider wants to go backwards, he's kinda go forwards. I forget the exact degree they can move, but it's 17 degrees or something, I don't remember the exact number. They kinds of have to go this way. They are so fast that it doesn't make a ton of difference, right? But what happens is, in the split second you look at a spider, if you are someone who's afraid of it, and the first moves it makes, looks like it's coming towards you. Anyone ever had a customer say it charged me? That thing was probably running away as fast as that person was, but they just didn't have time. They just saw that first move, I'm out of here. So and it could have been a wolf spider because of that movement pattern they have to do. I mean, it's just a split second, but they do kinda have to go forwards to turn around. So, alright. Hey, don't the other thing about wolf spider is they can't climb. So if anybody says to you there's spider on the wall, it's not a wolf spider, okay? Now maybe they can climb some really thick grout type walls. There's a lot to grab of. The spiders have these little suction cups and allow them to climb, and wolf spiders don't have those. Now this one is a common. The one here too, called the giant crab spider, also called as huntsman spider. There's several species of this. They don't build webs. This is the venom's not dangerous, but these guys stick on close really good. So if you're ever on of like, Joe Grail's subbing is a spider. So they can move sideways, that's why they call them crab spiders. They will bite, it's painful, but their venom is not that dangerous. So, although there is one that is related to them, it's down, on South America, something that isn't in the same family. It is dangerous, so potentially they could be. Okay, green legs. This is another one this, typically never indoors but outside. This is a cool spider that actually jump and leap across and take out other insects and stuff, and they are called lynx cause they jump like lynx cats. Okay, green legs. This is another one this, typically never indoors but outside. This is a cool spider that actually jump and leap across and take out other insects and stuff, and they are called lynx cause they jump like lynx cats. And really pretty spider. I just want to show you this because they have spiked egg sac. That's gonna be important later, okay? They have spiked egg sac, which is a rare thing on spiders, but there are some that have it. So this spike have little smooth ridge on it. Okay, it's not shown in the picture, but the backside of this has a smooth ridge. She sits right there, pretty spider, not dangerous again, but a painful bite. Oh. One thing I will tell you, she does spit venoms. So if you ever say, if you got kids or something and you're like, hey, check out this cool green spider. If you get really, really close to her, she can spit venom and you don't want that in your eyes. Okay, so just FYI if you're looking at that. So she's one of few spiders that will spit venom. Alright, the jumping spider has lots of different species. Jumping spiders are really cool. They have great vision, excellent climber, real tiny. These are fun spiders. You can catch one, it's if you put your finger about a foot away from them and they will follow your finger around and turn in a circle. They're really cool. No, there's one jumping spider in the whole world found to be a plant feeder. Just one. Now all the other ones are that I'm aware it feeds on live prey. Yeah. So they do really crazy mating rituals. You can go on YouTube, there's some really odd stuff. You gotta do this really cool dance, and if you don't have the right moves, your dinner right. So I guess it's very, very important for the jumping spiders know how to dance. And if you mimic the dance, the little dance, and then just pretend like they are Ant-Man, they just think like ant, and eat dinner whenever they are hungry. Not so common around here, but I think you might see it more in human areas and stuff. Not so common around here, but I think you might see it more in human areas and stuff. Bugs. Oh, this is the spitting spider I told you about. Again, not really common, but could you tell the difference between this and the brown recluse? Pretty much, it's got like tiger strips on him. But this also has 6-eye pattern in two. But it's pretty easy to tell apart. So again, look for that 6-eye pattern, and if it doesn't look like a tiger, it could be a recluse. Alright, tarantulas of course. You guys have tarantulas here, right? Tarantulas are usually seen most active during mating season fall. Males come out looking around. One thing about tarantula, I can tell you, it's much better to be female if you're tarantula, because tarantulas actually don't really have sex for the first couple of years and no molt. Until they molt. When they molt they become a male or female, and if you're a male, you get to mate and that's pretty much the end of it. If you're a female, you get to live about 17 years on average, so that's a pretty good gift if you're right. So males typically don't live long. So one of the things about tarantulas, if you do handle them, do keep as pets, wash your hands. Because tarantulas will shoot out hairs. So while their venom isn't dangerous, they'll shoot out hairs, and if you get those hairs and get in your eye, it's not good, man. Not good.